Today's edition of Mac Voices is supported by MacVoices Magazine, our free Flipboard magazine that brings you some of the best Mac, iPhone, and iPad productivity tips on the web. High in signal, low in noise, just like MacVoices, MacVoices Magazine includes information on how you can get more out of your Apple technology. Subscribe at MacVoices.com/magazine or search for MacVoices Magazine on Flipboard. Hi, I'm Chuck Joyner, and this is a MacVoices briefing on the Keurig Cold Drinkmaking System. Yes, this is a little bit outside of the usual MacVoices wheelhouse, but I couldn't resist the chance to play with the Keurig Cold after seeing it at CES this year and talking to the Keurig people about it. So, here we go. The Keurig Cold. The Keurig Cold, like the Keurig units you're familiar with, is a fresh drink maker. Unlike its predecessors, this is Keurig's entry into the cold drink market. It can be ordered in black or white, weighs in at a hefty 23.7 pounds, and is notably larger than the typical Keurig device, 12 inches wide by 14.9 inches tall by 19.25 inches deep. That means it takes up significant counter space, which may or may not be an issue in your kitchen. There's a minimal amount of assembly and setup. The first part, after unpacking, is to prime and rinse the system. This is done by first filling the water reservoir, then inserting the provided prime and care pod into the system. Put the glass in place, hit the button, and in about a minute the unit dispenses a glass full of clear water that you discard. The pod is removed and saved for future cleanings. Now you're ready to let the Keurig Cold get cold. This takes about 2 hours and is a rather noisy process because the refrigeration unit is doing extra duty to get the reservoir water cold. You might want to consider doing this overnight, or at least at a time when you're not in the same room. When the light on the Keurig Cold button goes blue, you're ready to go. The pods. The Keurig Cold pods are the cousins of the K-Cups you already know and love, but with a few important differences. First, they're larger than the K-Cups. Second, they have a slight notch in them, so they must be positioned a specific way in the Keurig Cold. This isn't a big deal since they obviously don't sit right in the unit without being properly aligned. The pods are where all the action is. Not only do they hold the mix for the drink, but also, in the case of the sparkling sodas, the carbonator beads, which means that you get real carbonation. They also have a freshness seal on the bottom that must be removed before being inserted into the Keurig Cold. No worries here, there's nothing to leak out and make a mess, but you must remove the seal before making the drink. There are a fairly wide variety of drinks available, including various Coca-Cola products, teas, craft sodas, and even mixed drinks. In the case of the latter, you provide your favorite alcohol, and the rest is in the magic little pods. Pricing on the pods varies widely, depending on where you get them. A 4-pod box of Coca-Cola on Amazon will cost you a whopping $13.05 versus $4.99 directly from Keurig, or $4.49 from Bed Bath & Beyond. In other words, shop around for the best price on your favorites. Keurig told me that the Keurig-owned brand pods have a best use-by date of 7 to 9 months, and the pods from Coke and Dr. Pepper have a 6 to 9 month shelf life. I can't confirm this since I didn't put a pod on the shelf for nearly that long, but it is something to consider when planning your purchasing and consumption. Also worth considering is the fact that each pod makes an 8-ounce soda, versus the typical soda can size of 12 ounces. Making the drink. To make the drink, peel the freshness tab off the bottom of the pod, line up the notch appropriately, close the top, and hit the button. This is a real-time video of the process. What comes out is a 39-degree Fahrenheit drink of your choice. Remove the pod and discard it, and enjoy your cold beverage. An interesting note is that the pod comes out a little warm, but not hot to the touch. Keurig sent me Coke Zero, Canada Dry Ginger Ale, and Rita and Tina's Classic Margarita to test. I'm a bit of a ginger ale snob and prefer Canada Dry, and what I got out of the Keurig Cold was Canada Dry Ginger Ale, with no variation in taste, color, or carbonation. Coke Zero tasted like Coke Zero to me, and I was assured by visiting experts that it too was perfect. The Rita and Tina's Margarita pod produced a non-alcoholic margarita that was at least as good, if not better, than any mix you can find in the stores. Add your favorite tequila, and you're all set. Party mode. The Keurig Cold can make up to 6 drinks in a row before requiring a 15-minute waiting period to deliver another 6 drinks at the 39-degree chilled mark. That's fine until you have some sports team over, and then it presents a problem. Keurig realized this and implemented a party mode so that you can make over 30 drinks in a row. They won't be chilled, but you can add ice to the reservoir and to the drinks when they're finished to enjoy the benefits of the cold with only a small compromise. The price. The Keurig Cold retails for $399, but can be purchased from Amazon for $270. As I said before, prices on the pods vary widely, so be sure to shop around. The bottom line. I set up the Keurig Cold in the boardroom at my office, and it received a great deal of attention during the time I had it, from anyone who walked in the room. All were intrigued, and more than a few wanted to see it in action and taste the results. The Keurig Cold is an interesting appliance that may or may not be for you. The most important thing to understand is that it does exactly what it advertises, delivers authentic drinks 1 serving at a time and at a pleasantly cold temperature. I can't stress that enough, especially since we're talking about very familiar flavors, and any variation would be immediately noticed. If you or your family consume large amounts of one particular drink or two, it might be more economically feasible to buy them in bulk. But if you enjoy having a larger selection of flavors and are looking for convenience without filling up your refrigerator, the Keurig Cold may be exactly what you've been looking for. Just be aware of the costs and the time delays involved when making your decision. I'm Chuck Joyner, and that's the MacVoices Briefing on the Keurig Cold Drinkmaking System. I hope you found it useful. I'll be back with more soon. As always, until the next time, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the MacVoices blog. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date on all the latest MacVoices news from our front page or at macvoices.com/newsletter. Do more with your Apple tech by subscribing to the free MacVoices Magazine on Flipboard by visiting macvoices.com/magazine. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.